Hi everybody, it's Terry and welcome back to my workshop. Now I know my workbench is starting to look a little bit cluttered now. That's because I have several projects going on at the moment, and that's okay. I usually like to be 3 or 4 projects deep at any given time, so this is actually a good thing. Now what I want to show you today is a new truck that I've got. This is the Traxxas TRX-4, and it's a combination rock crawler and trail rig and just all around basher. And this truck has some features that I think are really unique and set it apart from the other trucks that are on the market right now. So let me take the body off and I'll show you what I'm talking about. What initially caught my attention about the TRX-4 is that it has portal axles. Now I had seen portal axles on full-scale off-road cars and trucks before, but I had never seen them on an RC truck. So maybe you're asking, what the heck is a portal axle? Well, the basic idea is that there are gears out near the wheel hubs. So the axle is actually offset above the middle of the wheel. And this gives the truck more ground clearance, which is always a great thing when you're driving off-road. Another benefit of portal axles is that since some of the overall gear reduction happens out near the wheels, there's less of a torque load on the drive shaft where it meets the differential. So you don't get as much of that twisting effect that you sometimes see under heavy acceleration with other solid axle cars. Now, I don't know if that's a factor with the stock TRX-4 just because it uses a moderately powered brush motor. But if you were to ever upgrade the power system to something a little more potent, you would reap those benefits as well. While we're talking about the axles, I want to point out another key feature of this truck. The rear and front differential can each be locked remotely with the transmitter. In normal driving conditions, you would just keep it unlocked and the gear differential behaves normally, where each tire rotates somewhat independently. When you lock it, it's like no differential at all. Both tires always turn at the same speed. And that's really handy when you're in low traction conditions like rock crawling or trying to slog through mud or snow or something like that. Let's look at the other end of the drivetrain. Here we've got a 21-turn brushed motor. Now I'm sure that some of you will upgrade that, but I think that most of us will be happy with the performance of this motor. It gets the job done. The important thing here is that the motor is bolted to a 2-speed transmission. So once again, you've got a switch on the transmitter that lets you select low or high gear. Low gear is generally better for climbing and pulling and things like that, where high gear gives you more speed. So I think the combination of this 2-speed transmission plus the locking differentials gives this truck a very wide range of driving characteristics that makes it applicable to a very diverse set of driving conditions. Of course, all of these features that I'm raving about, well, they come at a cost. It takes a lot of parts to make a locking differential and a 2-speed transmission, and typically speaking, more parts means more avenues for things to break down. Now, Traxxas stuff is usually pretty solid, so I don't really worry about breakage, but you should consider that there's going to be more maintenance overhead to contend with. Another element to consider is weight. Now, I don't think that any of the special features on this truck are particularly heavy by themselves, but they do add up. And when you combine that with the truck's steel ladder frame chassis and steel suspension links, well, you end up with a pretty heavy vehicle. This thing weighs a little over 7 pounds without a battery, and that's a good 2 pounds more than most of my other 10th scale rigs. That extra weight will probably never make a lick of difference with the type of driving that I'll do with this thing. So the bottom line, at least for me, is that the extra weight and complexity of the TRX-4 is more than offset by its unique capabilities. It's winter time here now, and everything is covered in snow. So those are the only conditions that I've been able to test drive the TRX-4 in so far. But there are different types of snow. There's fluffy snow, icy snow, rough, smooth, everything in between. And the TRX-4 has handled it all pretty well so far. In fact, of my wheeled RC vehicles, and I have a few, this truck is definitely the most sure-footed in snow. And I expect that that will carry over into springtime and summertime driving conditions as well. Even in these somewhat limited conditions, the truck has shown its versatility. I'm often surprised by the situations that it can get itself into and out of. Numerous times I've gotten the truck stuck either on a steep incline or in deep snow, and all I had to do was lock one or both of the differentials and I was able to drive out. Another factor that gives the TRX-4 such a wide performance range is that it can use either a 2-cell or 3-cell Lipo battery. Of course, it can also use 6 or 7-cell NiCad and nickel metal hydride batteries as well. Most of the time, I run with a 5,000 milliamp hour 2-cell hard case Lipo. It fits in the battery holder perfectly and provides good overall performance. When I want a speed boost, I'll put in a 3-cell Lipo. Now, my hard case 3-cell batteries will not fit in the battery holder, so I typically use a 3200 milliamp hour soft case LiPo that is meant for airplanes. This truck is actually pretty fast in high gear, and that's especially true when you're driving on hard, smooth terrain and you've got a 3-cell LiPo on board. The only fault that I've noticed with the truck's handling is that it seems top-heavy. Either when climbing or cornering at top speed, it tends to topple over more easily than some of my other trucks. You probably noticed that I added snow chains to all 4 tires on the TRX-4. The truck actually does pretty well in the snow without them, but the chains definitely add an extra level of grip. A few days ago, I was driving this truck in snow that was up to the bumpers, and it didn't even seem to notice. It just plowed ahead and pushed a wall of snow ahead of it. As you'll recall, my original interest in the TRX-4 had to do with these portal axles. Now, if I'm being honest, I haven't really taken advantage of them so far. I can't see where the extra half-inch of ground clearance has made any difference when just driving through the snow. So I'm really looking forward to the arrival of springtime and a wider variety of driving conditions so I can really put these things to the test. But for now, thanks for watching this video, and be sure to check out my full written review of the TRX-4 at tested.com.